Listen to me closely. You are leaking power. Every single time you get offended, every time you let a comment ruin your day, and every time you seek validation from a stranger, you are handing the keys to your life over to them. You are acting like a slave to your emotions. Stop it. Today, we end the cycle of fragility. Today, you stop being a victim of your own ego. This is not a negotiation. This is an evacuation from the prison of other people's opinions. By the end of this audio, you will possess the unoffendable heart. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The bankruptcy of taking things personally. Let's talk about your bank account. I am not talking about the money in your pocket. I am not talking about your savings, your crypto portfolio, or your real estate. I am talking about the only currency that actually matters when you wake up in the morning and when you go to sleep at night. I am talking about your emotional energy. Most of you are emotionally bankrupt. You are overdrawn. You are operating in a deficit. You wake up tired, you go through the day anxious, and you go to sleep resentful. Why? Where is all that energy going? I will tell you exactly where it is going. You are spending it on a luxury you cannot afford. You are spending it on the expensive, useless habit of taking things personally. This is the first law of the unoffendable heart. Taking things personally is a form of bankruptcy. Every time someone looks at you the wrong way and you replay that moment in your head for 3 hours, you are paying a tax. Every time a stranger leaves a rude comment on your post and you type out a paragraph to defend yourself, you are paying a fee. Every time your boss ignores your email and you spiral into self-doubt thinking you're about to be fired, you are draining your account. You are giving your power away to people who do not care about you, do not know you, and do not think about you. You need to understand the root cause of this. Why do you do it? Why does a rejection sting so much? Why does a rude glance ruin your morning? The comforting answer is that you are sensitive. The comforting answer is that you are an empath. I am not here to give you comfort. I am here to give you the truth. The truth is that taking things personally is not a sign of sensitivity. It is a sign of arrogance. Stay with me. When you take things personally, you are making a massive, egotistical assumption. You are assuming that you are the center of the universe. You are assuming that everyone else's behavior is a direct reaction to your existence. You are walking through life believing that every frown, every honk of a car horn, every delayed text message is a commentary on your worth. That is arrogance. That is the ego screaming to be the main character. You have to crush that instinct. You have to realize the cold, liberating reality. It is not about you. Let me say that again. Let it sink into the marrow of your bones. It is not about you. Let's look at the classic example, the traffic jam. You are driving to work. You're in a good mood. You're listening to music. Suddenly, a car swerves into your lane, cutting you off, forcing you to slam on the brakes. What happens? Instantly, your heart rate spikes. Your hands grip the wheel. You scream inside your head. You look at the back of that other driver's head and you think, he disrespected me. He thinks I'm weak. He's trying to endanger me. You take it personally. You make it a duel between you and him. You spend the next 20 minutes angry, replaying the scenario, wishing you had honked longer, wishing you could pull up next to him and scream. But look at the reality. Look at the data. That driver, he doesn't know you exist. He didn't look at your car and think, I am going to ruin this specific person's day. No, he's late, he's distracted, maybe he's about to lose his job, maybe his kid is sick. Maybe he is just a terrible driver who is fighting his own lack of coordination. In his movie, he is the main character fighting against time. You're just scenery. You're a tree. You're a cloud. You are just another piece of metal on the road. He isn't attacking you. He's fighting his own battle. When you understand this, the anger evaporates. Why would you be angry at a storm for raining? Why would you be angry at a dog for barking? It is just their nature. It has nothing to do with you. It is not about you. It never was about you. It will never be about you. This applies to everything. When your spouse snaps at you after a long day, it is usually not about you. It's about their exhaustion. It's about their stress. You just happen to be the closest target for their venting. When a client rejects your proposal, it's not about your worth as a human being. It's about their budget, their fear, or their lack of vision. When someone ghosts you, it is not about your lovability. It is about their cowardice. It is about their inability to handle confrontation. People project their internal state onto the world.
If someone is full of hate, they will hate you. Not because you were hateful, but because they are. If someone is insecure, they will try to belittle you. Not because you were small, but because they feel small. You are simply the mirror reflecting their own chaos back at them. So why are you accepting the package? Imagine a delivery driver comes to your house with a box full of garbage. It smells, it's leaking, it's toxic. He tries to hand it to you. You have a choice. Most of you take the box. You say, "Oh, thank you," and you bring the garbage into your living room. You sit with it, you smell it, you let it rot in your house. That is what you do when you accept an insult. That is what you do when you take offense. But you have another option. You can look at the driver, look at the box of garbage, and simply say, "No, that's not mine, keep it." And you close the door. You leave the garbage with the owner. You leave the anger with the angry person. You leave the judgment with the judgmental person. You do not sign for the delivery. This is the discipline. This is the practice. You must develop the ability to look at someone's bad behavior and see it as a symptom of their disease, not a judgment of your health. When you stop taking things personally, you become dangerous. You become powerful because you become impossible to manipulate. Think about it. If I can make you angry, I own you. If I can make you insecure with one comment, I control you. I am holding the remote control to your emotions. I press a button and you react. I press another button and you cry. Do you want to be a puppet? No. You want to be the master. The master observes. The master watches the traffic cut him off and sees a desperate man in a hurry, not a personal enemy. The master hears the insult and hears the pain in the voice of the insulter, not a statement of truth about himself. It is not about you. If you want to reclaim your emotional wealth, if you want to get out of this bankruptcy, you must adopt this mantra. Write it on your mirror. Put it on your phone screen. When the world tries to provoke you, it is not about me. When the chaos tries to drag you in, it is not about me. Stop being the main character in everyone else's drama. Step off the stage. Sit in the audience. Watch the play. Laugh at the absurdity of it, but do not get on stage and start acting in a script you didn't write. People are going to be people. They will be rude, they will be inconsistent, they will be selfish. That is the weather. You cannot stop the rain, but you can choose whether or not to stand in it and complain that you are wet. Put on the raincoat of indifference. Let the water slide off. You have wasted enough years worrying about what they meant. You have wasted enough sleep wondering if they like you. Free yourself. The moment you realize that nobody is obsessing over you is the moment you become free to actually be yourself. You have learned that the world does not revolve around you, and that is the greatest news you will ever hear. It means the weight of the world is not on your shoulders. You have stopped paying the tax. You have stopped accepting the delivery of garbage. But now that you have stopped looking outward for the source of your pain, we have to look inward. We have to look at the thing inside you that was so easily bruised in the first place. we have to talk about that fragile glass structure you have spent your whole life protecting. We have to talk about the enemy within. You have stopped taking it personally. Now you must kill the part of you that wanted to be a victim.
Chapter 2. Your ego is a liability, not an asset. Most people have a fatal misunderstanding of the word ego. You have been taught that a big ego is a sign of power. You picture the CEO shouting in the boardroom, the athlete flexing for the cameras, or the politician demanding respect. You think ego means confidence. You think ego means armor. You think that to survive in this brutal world, you need to build yourself up into a fortress. You are wrong. Your ego is not your armor. Your ego is a target. A massive, painted, neon target that you carry on your back every single day. The bigger your ego, the larger the target. The bigger the target, the easier it is for the world to hit you. This is the second law of the unoffendable heart. Your ego is a liability, not an asset. Think about what the ego actually does. It demands, it craves, it protects a version of you that doesn't even exist. It screams, "I am important, treat me with respect, do not question me." And what happens when you demand that the world treats you a certain way? The world inevitably disappoints you. The ego is not a stone wall, it is a piece of glass. It is rigid, it is brittle. And because it is rigid, it shatters at the slightest impact. A strong man is like water. You can strike water with a hammer, and what happens? The water moves, it absorbs the blow, it reforms instantly, it is unharmed. A weak man is like glass. You strike glass with a hammer, and it breaks into 1,000 sharp pieces. Your ego is that glass. Every time you get offended, it is because something hit the glass and it cracked. Someone questioned your intelligence? Crack. Someone didn't laugh at your joke? Crack. Someone forgot your name? Crack. You are walking around terrified of being shattered, spending all your energy trying to glue the pieces back together. You have a choice. You can keep trying to thicken the glass, or you can become the water. Let's look at how you operate right now. You have a guard at the gate of your mind. Imagine your mind is a fortress. You have hired a security guard to stand at the front door. His job is to inspect every package that comes in, every comment, every look, every piece of feedback. If the package is a compliment, the guard lets it in and says, "See, we are great." But if the package is an insult, if it is a criticism, the guard pulls out his weapon. He goes to war. He fights the delivery driver. He screams, "You cannot bring that in here. I am important. I am smart." This guard is exhausted. He has been fighting a war every day of your life. He is tired, he is paranoid, and he is making you miserable. You need to fire the guard.
Kill the guard at the gate. Let the arrows pass through. Be nothing, so you can be everything. This is the concept of the open door. Imagine you were standing in an empty room with two doors, a front door and a back door. Both are wide open. Someone walks up to the front door and throws a spear at you. This spear represents an insult. It represents disrespect. If you have an ego, you are a solid brick wall standing in the middle of that room. The spear hits the wall. Bang, it sticks. It causes damage. You have to pull it out. You have to patch the hole. You are hurt. But what if there is no wall? What if you remove the ego? Now, when the spear is thrown, it flies through the front door, traverses the empty space, and flies right out the back door. It hits nothing. It sticks to nothing. It hurts nothing. The spear still exists. The insult was still said. But because there was no ego, no solid mass of self-importance to intercept it, it passed right through. This is true power. True power is not forcing people to respect you. True power is being so fluid, so open, that their disrespect cannot land on you. When you defend yourself, you are validating the attack. Listen to me. When you argue back, when you say, "How dare you?" when you try to prove them wrong, you are telling them, "Your opinion matters to me. Your spear hit my wall." You are revealing your location. You are showing them exactly where your buttons are. Stop it. Kill the guard at the gate. Let the arrows pass through. How do you do this practically? It requires a radical shift in how you view yourself. You must embrace the power of being nobody. Society tells you to be somebody. Be the expert, be the winner, be the alpha. But somebody has an image to protect. Nobody is free.
If someone comes up to you and says, "You are an idiot," the ego says, "No, I have a master's degree. I run a business. Retract that." The ego fights. The unoffendable heart says, "Maybe." Or it says nothing at all. It smiles. It lets the words hang in the air, finding no target. Do you see the difference? The first person is a slave to their reputation. The second person is untouchable. You have to stop taking yourself so seriously. You are a biological machine on a floating rock in infinite space. Your pride is irrelevant. Your embarrassment is a hallucination. When you kill the ego, you kill the capacity for embarrassment. Think about how much fear controls your life right now. You are afraid to start that business. Why? What if I fail and look stupid? That is the ego. You are afraid to approach that person. Why? What if they reject me and I look weak? That is the ego. You are afraid to speak your truth. Why? What if they disagree? That is the ego. The ego is the anchor dragging you down to the bottom of the ocean. Cut the chain. Be nothing so you can be everything. When you are nothing, you have nothing to lose. And when you have nothing to lose, you can do anything. You can fail and laugh. You can be rejected and shrug. You can be criticized and listen for the truth without being wounded by the tone. This is the discipline of invulnerability. Invulnerability does not mean you are cold. It does not mean you are a robot. It means you are spacious. It means you have room for everything, but you hold on to nothing. The next time you feel that spike of defensiveness, that hot flash of anger when someone challenges you, recognize it. That is the guard at the gate waking up. That is the wall trying to form. Don't let it. Visualize the open door. See the words flying towards you. Do not block them. Do not catch them. Step aside. Watch them fly through the room and out the back. Watch them hit the wall behind you. They are just words. They are just vibrations in the air. They have no mass unless you give them mass. Kill the guard at the gate. Stop hiring internal security for a building that doesn't contain anything valuable. Your worth is not a pile of gold that can be stolen. Your worth is innate. It cannot be touched. It does not need a guard. If you have to defend your dignity, you have already lost it. Dignity speaks for itself. Strength speaks for itself. The lion does not turn around to bark at the dogs. The lion keeps walking, not because he is arrogant, but because the dogs are irrelevant to his mission. You have a mission. You have a life to build. You do not have time to stop and bark at every dog that questions your path. Drop the heavy armor. It is slowing you down. It is suffocating you. Walk naked into the fire. You will find that when you are not trying to protect an image, the fire cannot burn you. You have learned that the world isn't about you. Now you have learned that the you were protecting is just a fragile illusion. You have dismantled the target. But even with the target gone, there is another trap, a sweeter trap, a trap that tastes like honey but acts like poison. You have stopped fearing insults. Good. But are you still addicted to praise? Are you still begging for a pat on the head? The open door must work both ways. If you let the insults pass through, you must let the compliments pass through. You cannot be a slave to the cheers if you want to be free of the boos. We need to cut the final cord of dependency.
Chapter 3. Starve the beast of external validation. You have learned to block the insults. You have learned to open the door and let the arrows of disrespect pass right through you. You feel stronger. You feel protected. But you are not safe yet. In fact, you are currently walking directly into a trap that is far more dangerous than any insult. You are walking towards the honey. You are walking towards the applause. You are walking towards the validation. And if you eat that honey, if you accept that applause, you are just as enslaved as the person who cowers in fear of an insult. This is the third law of the unoffendable heart. You must starve the beast of external validation. Most people think that not caring what people think only applies to negative opinions. They think it means ignoring the haters. But that is only half the equation. If you are immune to their hate, but you are addicted to their love, you are still a slave. You are still owned. Think about the mechanics of power. If I have the power to lift you up with a compliment, I have the power to crush you with a criticism. If you need me to tell you that you are good, then you have given me the authority to tell you that you are bad. You have handed me the gavel. You have made me the judge of your life. Why would you do that? Why would you give a stranger, a boss, or a follower on the internet the keys to your self-worth? It is the Pavlovian dog response. You know the experiment. Ivan Pavlov rings a bell and he feeds the dog. Rings the bell, feeds the dog. Eventually, he just rings the bell and the dog starts to salivate. The dog doesn't even see the food. The sound of the bell controls the dog's biology. Look at your life. Look at your phone. Ding! A notification pops up. Someone liked your photo. Someone commented, "Great job." Someone retweeted you. What happens? You salivate. You get a hit of dopamine. You feel good. You feel worthy. You feel seen. You have been trained to sit, stay, and roll over for a digital biscuit. This is not freedom. This is obedience. You are performing tricks for an audience, hoping they will clap so you can feel okay about yourself for another hour. You need to break the conditioning. You do not need their permission to exist. Validate yourself. Approve yourself. This is the hard truth. The person who needs a compliment is exactly the same as the person who fears an insult. Both are empty. Both are hollow. Both are looking outside of themselves to find out who they are. It's like you are a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You feel empty, so you run around begging people to pour water into you. You beg for praise. You beg for reassurance. You beg for likes. But because there is a hole in your bucket, because you do not value yourself, the water drains out immediately. So you have to go back and beg for more. It is an endless cycle of spiritual poverty. That's the key. You have to plug the hole. You have to stop looking for water outside and become the spring. You must reach a point where your opinion of yourself is so strong, so grounded in reality and discipline that the opinions of others become irrelevant noise. If you know you worked hard, you do not need the boss to say, "Good job." You know it. If you know you look good, you do not need the Instagram comments to confirm it. You know it. If you know you were a good person, you do not need them to thank you. You know it. You do not need their permission to exist. When you strip away the need for validation, you become terrifyingly efficient. Think about how much time you waste managing perceptions. You write an email, then you reread it 10 times to make sure you sound smart. You take a photo, then you edit it for 20 minutes to make sure people think you are happy. You tell a story, but you exaggerate the details so people think you are cool. It is exhausting. It is a performance. Stop performing.
When you stop performing, you can actually start working. You can start living. The unoffendable heart is not just a shield against hate, it is a filter against praise.
When someone gives you a massive compliment, the unoffendable heart says, "Thank you, I appreciate that." But it does not eat it. It does not let it go to the head. It treats the compliment like a pleasant weather forecast. Nice, but it doesn't change the mountain. If you let the praise go to your head, the criticism will go to your heart. It's not about arrogance, it's about discipline. It is the discipline of self-audit. You must be the one who sets the standard. You must be the one who grades the test. If you had a lazy day, but everyone tells you you're great, you should not feel good. You should feel bad, because you know the truth. You know you slackened. If you had a disciplined day, but everyone tells you you're wrong, you should feel good, because you know the truth. You know you executed. Validate yourself. Approve yourself. So here is the challenge. Here is the transformation. I want you to go on a validation fast. For the next week, stop fishing. You know what I mean. Stop saying things just to get a reaction. Stop showing people your work before it's done just to hear them say, "Wow." Stop posting things on social media for the sole purpose of checking the analytics. Do the work in the dark. Can you survive without the applause? Can you go to the gym, have a killer workout, and not tell anyone about it? Can you finish a project, submit it, and not wait anxiously for the reply? If that idea scares you, that is proof of your addiction. That is proof that you were the dog waiting for the bell. Starve the beast. Let it go hungry. When you stop feeding the need for external approval, the beast dies. And when the beast dies, a king or queen is born. You start to move differently. You walk into a room and you don't scan the faces of the people to see if they like you. You don't care. You were there to do a job. You were there to be yourself. You become magnetic. Paradoxically, the less you need validation, the more people will want to give it to you. People are drawn to certainty. They are drawn to people who are self-contained. When you are desperate for approval, you smell like desperation. You repel people. But when you validate yourself, you radiate power. You do not need their permission to exist. Look in the mirror. That is the only person you need to impress. That is the only person you need to make peace with. If you can look in that mirror at the end of the day and say, "I did what I said I was going to do," then the rest of the world can stay silent. Their applause adds nothing. Their silence takes nothing away. You are whole. You are complete. You are sovereign. Stop handing your power to people who haven't earned it. Stop letting the crowd determine your value. The crowd is fickle. The crowd is confused. The crowd will cheer for Barabbas one day and demand a crucifixion the next. Do not trust the crowd. Trust your code. Validate yourself. Approve yourself. Once you break this addiction, once you stop wagging your tail for a treat, you gain a new ability. You gain the ability to look at the world clearly. When you aren't looking for a reaction, you can finally see people for who they really are. You stop projecting your needs onto them, and you start observing their reality. You become a watcher. You become a strategist. You have stopped taking things personally. You have smashed the ego. You have starved the beast of validation. Now you are ready to learn the most dangerous skill of all, the skill that makes you the most powerful person in any room, the skill of absolute, unshakable silence. You have mastered your fear. Now, let's talk about the true currency of your life.
Chapter 4. The Power of the Neutral Gaze. You talk too much. When you feel attacked, you talk. When you feel misunderstood, you talk. When you feel uncomfortable, you talk. You fill the air with noise because you are terrified of the silence. You think that if you explain yourself, if you just find the right combination of words, you can make the other person understand you. You can make them respect you. You are wrong. Every time you rush to speak, you are showing your hand. Every time you react instantly to a stimulus, you are proving that you are not in control. You are proving that you are easily triggered. You are leaking power. This is the fourth law of the unoffendable heart. Reactivity is weakness. Silence is control. We need to talk about the tactical skill of the neutral gaze. This is not a philosophy. This is a physical mechanism. It is a weapon you can use in a boardroom, in a bar, or in your living room. Most people are slaves to the stimulus-response loop. Someone insults you, stimulus. You instantly get angry and snap back, response. Someone questions you, stimulus. You instantly get defensive and justify yourself, response. There is no gap. There is no thinking. You are a biological machine operating on autopilot. If I push you, you fall. If I pinch you, you scream. You are predictable. And because you are predictable, you are vulnerable. The unoffendable heart breaks this loop. It inserts a gap between the trigger and the reaction. In that gap, you find your power. Pause, breathe, observe. Reactivity is weakness. Silence is control. Let's look at a high-stakes scenario. Let's look at a negotiation. Two people sit at a table. One is desperate. One is sovereign. The desperate man is uncomfortable. He makes an offer. The sovereign man says nothing. He just looks. He maintains the neutral gaze. He doesn't frown. He doesn't smile. He doesn't look away. He simply observes. What happens? The desperate man panics. The silence feels heavy. He starts to think, oh no, he hates the offer. I offended him. I need to fix this.
So the desperate man starts talking. Well, I mean, we could probably do a little better on the price. I know it seems high, but... He starts negotiating against himself. He starts lowering his own price. He starts revealing his insecurities. He spills all his secrets, all because he couldn't handle 3 seconds of silence. The sovereign man didn't do anything. He didn't argue, he didn't fight. He simply held the space. He let the other person's anxiety do the work for him. That's the key. In any interaction, the person who reacts less controls the dynamic. When you are in an argument with your partner or a conflict with a coworker, your instinct is to jump in. You want to correct the record. You want to be right. Stop it. You have a choice. You can engage in the chaos, or you can observe the chaos. When someone comes at you with high energy, with anger, with disrespect, they expect resistance. They expect you to push back. It is like a game of tug-of-war. They are pulling on the rope, waiting for you to pick up the other end and pull back. Drop the rope. Look at them. Activate the neutral gaze. Do not glare. A glare is aggressive. It shows you are angry. Do not look down. Looking down is submissive. It shows you are afraid. Look through them. Look at them with the curiosity of a scientist observing a lab rat. Pause. Breathe. Observe. When you do this, you short-circuit their programming. They are waiting for the fight, but you aren't fighting. You are watching. This confuses them. It makes them self-conscious. They start to hear how loud their own voice is. They start to feel foolish. By doing nothing, you have done everything. It's not about being smarter. It's about discipline. It takes discipline to keep your mouth shut when every fiber of your being wants to scream. It takes discipline to keep your face relaxed when your blood is boiling. But this discipline buys you the most valuable asset in the world: time. When you pause for 3 seconds before responding, you give your rational brain a chance to catch up with your emotional brain. You move from reaction to response. A reaction is a reflex. A response is a choice.
If you react, you might say something you regret. You might look weak. You might escalate a situation that didn't need to be escalated. If you respond, you are surgical. You choose the exact words needed to dismantle the situation, or you choose to walk away. Reactivity is weakness. Silence is control.
This applies to the digital world too. You get a nasty email. Your heart races. You start typing furiously. You want to hit reply all and destroy them. Pause. Breathe. Observe. Do not send it. Wait. Wait an hour. Wait a day. When you look at that email tomorrow, you will see it differently. You will see that it doesn't deserve your energy. You will write a short, professional, cold response. You will win. The person who cannot remain silent is the person who cannot be trusted with power. If you cannot control your tongue, you cannot control your life. This is uncomfortable, I know. Silence feels dangerous. You feel like if you don't speak, you are admitting defeat. Reframe that. Silence is not defeat. Silence is the mounting of the cannon. You are loading the weapon. You are taking aim. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. The quietest person is the one you need to worry about. Be the quiet one. So here is your instruction. Here is the transformation. For the next 24 hours, practice the 3-second rule. No matter what happens, no matter who asks you a question, no matter who provokes you, do not speak for 3 full seconds. Count them in your head. 1, 2, 3. During those 3 seconds, look at them. Relax your jaw. Unclench your fists. Pause. Breathe. Observe. You will feel the urge to rush. Kill that urge. Sit in the discomfort. Watch the other person's eyes shift. Watch them try to fill the gap. You will realize that you are not in danger. You will realize that the silence is not empty. It is full of information. In that silence, you learn who they are. In that silence, you remember who you are. You are not a reflex. You are a conscious being. You do not need their permission to speak, and you do not need their permission to be silent. When you finally do speak after that pause, your words will have weight. They will have gravity, because you didn't just vomit them out, you chose them. People listen to the person who speaks rarely, but speaks with intent. People ignore the person who chatters endlessly like a nervous bird. Reclaim your silence. It is your territory. Do not give it away for free. If someone insults you, give them silence. Let their words hang in the air and rot. If someone questions you aggressively, give them silence. Let them feel the weight of their own rudeness. Reactivity is weakness. Silence is control. You are building the fortress. You have learned to ignore the insults. You have learned to ignore the praise. Now you have learned to control the flow of time itself through the power of the pause. You are becoming unshakable. But there is still a voice in your head, a voice that says, "But what if they judge me? What if they think I'm weird? What if they talk about me behind my back?" You have mastered the tactical silence in the room. Now we must master the strategic silence of the mind. We must confront the reality of how little you actually matter to other people. And I am telling you, that is the most liberating thing you will ever learn. You have mastered the gaze. Now let's talk about the freedom of being invisible.
Chapter 5. The Liberation of Irrelevance. I am about to tell you something that might hurt your feelings. I am about to tell you something that your ego will hate, but your soul needs to hear. You do not matter as much as you think you do. In fact, statistically speaking, to the strangers on the street, to the people in the grocery store, and even to most of your acquaintances, you are completely irrelevant. Does that sting? Does that feel cold? Good. Let the air out of the balloon, because that sting is the feeling of your chains falling off. This is the 5th law of the unoffendable heart. The realization of your own irrelevance is the pathway to absolute freedom. We suffer from a cognitive distortion called the spotlight effect.
This is a psychological phenomenon where you believe that a spotlight is constantly shining on you. You believe that everyone is watching your every move. You believe everyone noticed the stain on your shirt. You believe everyone heard you stutter during that presentation. You believe everyone is judging your haircut. You walk into a room and you think, everyone is looking at me. You post something online and you think, everyone is analyzing this. You are hallucinating. There is no spotlight. There is no audience. You are walking onto an empty stage in a dark theater, acting your heart out, terrified of a crowd that isn't there. Let's look at the science. Psychologists have done studies on this. They forced people to wear embarrassing t-shirts and walk into a crowded room. They asked the participants, how many people do you think noticed your shirt? The participants guessed 50%. They were sweating. They were humiliated. They thought half the room was laughing at them. Do you know what the reality was? Less than 10%. And of that 10%, most of them forgot about it within 30 seconds. Why? Why didn't they notice? Because they were too busy worrying about their own t-shirts. They were too busy worrying about their own insecurities. They were too busy thinking about what you thought of them. Here is the brutal, beautiful truth. Nobody is watching. Nobody cares. You are free. You are paralyzed by the fear of other people's opinions, but other people are not thinking about you. They are thinking about themselves. Humans are self-obsessed creatures. We are the center of our own universes. To your neighbor, you are a background character. To your coworker, you are an NPC, a non-player character. You spend hours agonizing over a text message, wondering if it sounded weird. They glanced at it for 2 seconds, replied, and went back to thinking about their lunch. You spent 3 days worrying about a mistake you made in a meeting. They forgot about it before they left the conference room. That's the key. The moment you realize that nobody is obsessed with your failures, you become free to fail. If nobody's watching, why are you so stiff? If nobody's watching, why are you so afraid to dance? If nobody is watching, why don't you start that business? You have been living your life in a prison built out of the imaginary judgments of other people. You are holding back your potential because you are afraid of a they that does not exist. What will they say? What will they think? Who is they? Name them. You can't, because they is a phantom. They is a ghost created by your ego to keep you small. You have a choice. You can continue to perform for this imaginary audience, or you can step off the stage and live your life. This is not depressing. I know some of you are hearing this and thinking, but I want to be important. I want to matter. You matter to your purpose. You matter to your loved ones, but you do not need to matter to the crowd to be valuable. In fact, needing to matter to the crowd is what makes you weak. It makes you fragile. It makes you easily offended. If you think everyone is watching you, then every whisper feels like a scream. Every laugh feels like mockery. You are hyper-vigilant. You are scanning the horizon for threats. But when you embrace the liberation of irrelevance, you become ghost-like. You move through the world with a lightness that is impossible to fake. You trip on the sidewalk? Who cares? Nobody is watching. You get rejected? Who cares? Nobody cares. You launch a project and it fails? Who cares? You are free. This is the ultimate confidence. Confidence is not walking into a room thinking everyone likes me. Confidence is walking into a room and thinking it doesn't matter if they like me or not. Confidence is knowing that your embarrassing moments are not permanent records. They are fleeting glitches in a system that is too busy to log them. It's not about being invisible. It's about the discipline of anonymity. You must cultivate the discipline to operate without an audience.
Look at the people who are constantly offended. Look at the people who are constantly creating drama. What are they doing? They are screaming, "Look at me! I matter! My feelings matter!" They are desperate for the spotlight, and because they are desperate for the spotlight, they burn in it. The unoffendable heart does not need the spotlight. It generates its own light. So here is your instruction. Here is the transformation. I want you to stop curating your life. Stop dressing for the audience. Stop speaking for the audience. Stop making decisions based on how it will look on a resume or an Instagram feed. Ask yourself this question. If nobody would ever know I did this, would I still do it? If the answer is no, then you are doing it for validation. You are doing it for the imaginary applause. But if the answer is yes, if you would do it in the dark, if you would do it in an empty room, then that is your truth. That is your path. You don't need their permission because they aren't even paying attention to give it to you. Imagine how much energy you would save if you stopped trying to manage your reputation. Imagine if you took all the energy you spend worrying about looking stupid and poured it into getting better. You would become unstoppable. The fear of judgment is the most expensive tax you pay. It costs you your dreams. It costs you your peace. It costs you your authentic self. Stop paying the tax. Declare yourself irrelevant to the masses. Declare yourself free from the burden of being perceived. When you walk down the street today, look at the people passing you. Really look at them. Are you thinking about their insecurities? Are you judging their shoes? No, you are thinking about your grocery list. You are thinking about this audiobook. Realize that they are doing the exact same thing to you. They are looking right through you. Take comfort in that. Wrap yourself in that thought like a warm blanket. Nobody's watching. Nobody cares. You are free. You can breathe now. You can relax your shoulders. You can take the mask off. You have realized that the external world is not a minefield of judgment. It is a landscape of indifference. And indifference is safe. Indifference is a playground. Now that we have cleared the room, now that we have established that the audience is gone and the critics are imaginary, we are left with only one thing. We are left with you. We are left with your mind, your perceptions, and your decisions. If nobody else is responsible for your feelings, and if nobody else is even watching your feelings, then who is responsible for your offense? Who is responsible when you feel angry? Who is responsible when you feel hurt? There is only one person left in the room. It is time to take extreme, radical ownership of your emotional state. It is time to stop reacting to the world and start choosing your reality. The honeymoon is over. The safety of "it's their fault" is gone.
There is a lie you tell yourself every single day. It is a comfortable lie. It is a lie that absolves you of all responsibility. You say, "He made me angry." You say, "She hurt my feelings." You say, "That email ruined my day." You speak as if you are a chemical compound. You speak as if you are baking soda and the world is vinegar, and when the two touch, you have no choice but to explode. I am here to tell you that this is nonsense. Nobody makes you angry. Nobody makes you offended. Nobody ruins your day. You do it. You are the architect of your own misery. You are the one who takes a neutral event, paints it with the color of victimhood, and decides to suffer. This is the sixth law of the unoffendable heart. Offense is a choice, never a reaction. You need to understand the mechanics of your own mind. You think the process looks like this: event, emotion. Someone calls you a name and you get angry. Instant, automatic. But that is not how it works. There is a step in the middle. There is a gap. The real process looks like this: event, interpretation, emotion. Someone calls you a name. That is just sound waves vibrating in the air. That is just data. Then you interpret that data. You decide this is an attack. This is unfair. This person must be punished. Then, and only then, do you generate the chemical response of anger. The event is out of your control. The emotion is the result. But the interpretation, that is entirely yours.
That is where your power lives. You have a choice. You can choose to interpret the noise as an attack, or you can choose to interpret it as the meaningless buzzing of a fly. Let's look at the masters of this. Let's look at Epictetus. Epictetus was a slave who became a philosopher. He owned very little. One of his few possessions was an iron lamp. One night, a thief broke in and stole the lamp. Now, most of you would lose your minds. You would scream, you would curse the thief, you would stay up all night plotting revenge. You would complain to everyone you met for the next month about how unfair the world is.
Do you know what Epictetus did? He said the thief was better at being a thief than I was at being a guard. He realized that if he got angry, he would lose two things. He would lose the lamp and he would lose his peace of mind. The lamp was already gone. Why throw his sanity out the window after it? He decided that his peace was more valuable than a piece of metal. He replaced the iron lamp with a cheap clay one and moved on. He refused to pay the price of anger. You are choosing this pain. Put it down. Step over it. Keep moving. Every time you get offended, you are paying a price. You are paying with your cortisol levels. You are paying with your blood pressure. You are paying with your focus. Is it worth it? Is that rude comment on Facebook worth 3 hours of your mental clarity? Is that driver who cut you off worth your heart health? Is that passive-aggressive coworker worth your joy? No, the price is too high. But you keep buying it. You keep choosing to be offended. You treat offense like it is a precious treasure that you must hold on to. You grab the hot coal of anger and you squeeze it tight, burning your own hand, hoping that the other person will feel the pain. That's the key. You are the only one getting burned. The person who offended you, they're likely eating a sandwich right now. They're watching TV. They are sleeping soundly. They have forgotten you. But you are pacing the floor. You are rehearsing arguments in the shower. You are miserable. Why are you doing this to yourself? You are choosing this pain. It is an active decision. Offense is not a noun, it is a verb. You are offending yourself. You are telling yourself a story about how you were wronged, and you are rereading that story over and over again until you make yourself sick. Put it down. Imagine you are walking down a road. You are carrying a heavy backpack. Every time someone disrespects you, you pick up a rock and put it in the bag. He was rude to me. Pick up a rock. She didn't invite me. Pick up a rock. They didn't appreciate me. Pick up a rock.
Soon, the bag weighs 100 pounds. You are sweating. You are struggling to walk. You are exhausted. And you look at the people around you and scream, "Look what you did to me. Look how heavy this bag is." They didn't fill the bag. You did. You picked up the rocks. You have a choice. You can empty the bag. You can look at the rock, the insult, the rejection, the slight, and simply drop it. You can leave it on the side of the road. Step over it. Keep moving. This requires a shift in identity. You have to stop identifying as a victim. A victim says, "The world hurts me." A warrior says, "The world happens. I decide what hurts me." It's not about fairness. It's about discipline. It is the discipline of the mental filter. You must become a gatekeeper of your own mind. When a negative event happens, you must catch it before it turns into an emotion. Catch it in the gap. Someone insults you. Freeze frame. Ask yourself, do I want to spend my energy on this? Answer, no. Result, discard. It is that simple. It is not easy, but it is simple. You act like you have to accept every invitation to a fight. You don't. If someone invites you to a fist fight in a muddy alleyway, do you have to go? No. You can keep walking in your nice suit. When someone invites you to an emotional fight, decline the invitation. No, thank you. I am not participating in this drama today. I have better things to do. This is how you reclaim your life. You stop letting random people dictate your emotional state.
Think about how fragile you are if a stranger can ruin your day with one sentence. That is not strength. That is slavery. You are a puppet and they are pulling the strings. Cut the strings. You do not need their permission to be happy. You do not need their permission to be calm. Even if they are wrong, even if they are malicious, even if they are trying to hurt you, you have the ultimate veto power. You can veto the pain. Refuse the delivery. You are choosing this pain. Put it down. Step over it. Keep moving. So here is your instruction. Here is the transformation. The next time you feel that spike of heat in your chest, that moment where you want to snap, where you want to spiral into poor me, I want you to physically stop. Say this out loud. I am not accepting this. Visualize the offense as a physical object, a rock, a piece of trash. See it on the ground in front of you. Do not pick it up. Walk around it. Step over it. And as you step over it, feel the weight leaving your shoulders. Feel the superiority of the man or woman who cannot be rattled. The world will continue to throw rocks. That is what the world does. It is chaotic. It is messy. But you are the traveler. You are on a mission. You do not have time to stop and collect rocks. You travel light. You have realized that nobody can hurt you without your consent. You have realized that your anger is a product of your own judgment, not their actions. But there is one specific type of rock that is harder to put down than any other. There is one specific trap that catches even the smartest, strongest people. It is the trap of the intellect. It is the trap of the ego's need for accuracy. It is the burning, overwhelming need to prove that you are correct. You might be able to ignore an insult, but can you ignore someone being wrong? Can you walk away when someone is spreading lies? Can you silence yourself when you have the facts that would destroy their argument? This is the final test of the ego.
Chapter 7. The High Cost of Being Right. You have a problem. It is a specific type of addiction that is harder to break than sugar, caffeine, or nicotine. You are addicted to being right. You are addicted to correcting the record. You walk through life acting like the unpaid editor of the universe. You see a mistake and you feel a compulsion to fix it. You hear a lie and you feel a burning need to expose it. You see someone with a stupid opinion and you feel obligated to educate them. You tell yourself, this is noble. You tell yourself you are fighting for the truth. You tell yourself, I can't just let them get away with saying that. I am here to tell you that this addiction is destroying your peace. It is draining your battery. It is making you miserable. This is the seventh law of the unoffendable heart. The cost of being right is often your happiness. Stop paying it. We need to do a cost-benefit analysis of your arguments. Think about the last time you got into a heated debate. Maybe it was with a stranger on the internet. Maybe it was with a stubborn uncle at dinner. Maybe it was with a coworker who refuses to listen to logic. You invested hours. You invested emotional energy. You raised your blood pressure. You typed out paragraphs of evidence. You cited sources. You used logic. You used reason. And what was the result? Did they say, "Oh, thank you. I was blind, but now I see. You have changed my entire worldview with your brilliant comment"? No. They dug in deeper. They insulted you. They moved the goalpost. They ignored your facts and attacked your character. You walked away exhausted, angry, and depleted. You spent a fortune in emotional currency, and you bought absolutely nothing. Let them be wrong. Your peace is expensive. Do not spend it on cheap arguments. This is a hard pill to swallow for smart people. If you are intelligent, you value accuracy. When you see something inaccurate, it feels like a scratch on a chalkboard. You want to smooth it out. But you have to realize that most arguments are not about facts. They're about ego. When you argue with someone, you are not fighting their logic, you are fighting their identity. And people will burn down the world before they admit they're wrong. So why are you trying to break through a wall with your forehead? You have a choice. You can be right or you can be happy. Very often, you cannot be both. Let's look at the black hole of the internet.
This is where millions of brilliant minds go to die. You log onto social media, you see a post. It is factually incorrect. It is morally offensive. It is stupid. Your fingers start to twitch. The correction reflex kicks in. You start typing. Actually, if you look at the data, stop. Look at what you are doing. You are about to engage in combat with a stranger named User99 who lives in a basement 3,000 miles away. You are about to give this stranger your most precious resource, your time and your attention. Why? Do you think you're saving the world? Do you think you're changing the culture? No. You are feeding your ego's need to dominate. You want to win. You want the dopamine hit of proving someone else is inferior. But the cost is too high. That's the key. The unoffendable heart understands the value of its own energy. If you were a billionaire, would you stop on the street to pick up a dirty penny? No, your time is too valuable. So why, as an emotional billionaire, someone seeking high-value peace and purpose, do you stop to pick up dirty arguments? Let them be wrong. Say it with me. Let them be wrong. It is not your job to fix them. It is not your job to educate them. It is not your job to save them from their own ignorance. If someone wants to believe the earth is flat, let them. If someone wants to believe that you are a bad person, let them. If someone wants to misunderstand your work, let them. When you try to force them to see the truth, you are acting out of insecurity. You are saying, I cannot be at peace until you agree with me. You don't need their permission to be right. You can be right in silence. You can be right in solitude. There's a powerful story about a tiger and a donkey. The donkey says to the tiger, the grass is blue. The tiger says, no, the grass is green. They argue. The debate gets heated. They go to the lion, the king of the jungle, to settle it. The donkey screams, Your Highness, is the grass blue? The lion says, yes, the grass is blue. The donkey rushes away happily. The tiger is confused. He asks the lion, why did you lie? You know the grass is green. The lion replies, the grass is green, but I punished you because you are a brave, intelligent creature, and yet you wasted your time arguing with a donkey. Do not argue with donkeys. When you argue with a fool, there are two fools in the conversation. It's not about intelligence, it's about discipline. It takes zero discipline to correct someone. It is a reflex. It takes massive discipline to hear something wrong, smile, and keep walking. This is the discipline of the mental scroll. In real life, just like on your phone, you need to learn to scroll past. When your coworker makes a passive-aggressive remark that is factually wrong, scroll past. When your relative starts a political rant at Thanksgiving, scroll past. When the internet tries to bait you, scroll past.
Let them be wrong. Your peace is expensive. Do not spend it on cheap arguments. You need to treat your peace of mind like a fortress. You are the commander. If a drunk man is shouting outside the castle walls, do you open the gate, march out, and try to reason with him? Do you try to explain logic to him? No, you stay inside. You eat your dinner. You let him shout until he loses his voice or falls asleep. He is not a threat to the castle unless you open the gate. Arguments are the open gate. When you engage, you lower the drawbridge. You let their chaos into your sanctuary. You must become comfortable with being misunderstood. This is the ultimate level of maturity. You know the truth. You know your intentions. You know the facts, and you are okay with the fact that they don't. You do not need to file a final report. You do not need the last word. Actually, let's talk about the last word. It is the most expensive item in the world. People destroy marriages, friendships, and careers just to get the last word. They will burn the house down just to say, I told you so. Give them the last word. It is a consolation prize for the insecure. Let them have it. Wrap it in a bow and hand it to them. You're right. Okay, I hear you. Say those words and then disengage. Watch how quickly the fire dies when you stop adding wood to it. Let them be wrong. By refusing to argue, you preserve your energy for things that actually matter.
You preserve your energy for your goals, your creation, your life. Every minute you spend arguing is a minute you are not building. Every ounce of focus you put into winning a debate is an ounce of focus stolen from your purpose. Be selfish with your focus. You have a choice. Next time the bait is dangled in front of you, look at it. Recognize it. Say to yourself, this is a trap. This is a drain. I am not paying the toll. Smile, breathe, and walk away. Let them think they won. Let them think you are weak. Let them think you are stupid. Who cares? Nobody is watching. Nobody cares. You are free. Remember chapter 5? Their opinion of your intelligence does not change your intelligence. Their opinion of your worth does not change your worth. So here is your instruction. Here is the transformation. For the next week, I want you to lose every argument. Intentionally. If someone starts a debate, bow out immediately. Say, you know what? You might be right. And then change the subject. Feel the burn of your ego. Feel the urge to correct them. Watch that feeling rise up and then suppress it with the heavy boot of discipline. You will feel a strange sensation. At first, it will feel like defeat, but seconds later, it will feel like victory. You will realize you still have your time. You still have your calm. You are not shaking. You are not angry. You won by not playing. Let them be wrong. Your peace is expensive. Do not spend it on cheap arguments. You have learned to stop taking things personally. You have learned to starve the need for validation. You have learned that you don't need to prove yourself right to anyone. You have built a reservoir of energy that you used to waste on nonsense. You are full of power. Now, what do we do with the disrespect that does come your way? You can't argue with it and you can't get offended by it, but you don't just have to ignore it. You can use it. You can take the stones they throw at you and use them to build your empire. You can take their doubt and turn it into rocket fuel. We are done playing defense. Now we play offense. Chapter 8. Weaponize their disrespect. We have spent the last hour talking about defense. We have talked about ignoring insults, scrolling past arguments, and letting the arrows fly through the open door. We have talked about peace. But let's be real. Sometimes you don't want peace. Sometimes the disrespect cuts deep. Sometimes the doubt from others lights a fire in your belly that you cannot just breathe away. Good. Do not extinguish that fire. Use it. This is the 8th law of the unoffendable heart. Disrespect is high-octane fuel, but only if you have an engine that can burn it. Most people are fragile engines. When you pour the fuel of hate, doubt, or mockery into them, they break down, they sputter, they stall, they sit on the side of the road and cry about how unfair it is that someone put bad fuel in their tank. But the unoffendable heart is a different kind of machine. It is a hybrid engine. It runs on love, yes. It runs on inspiration, yes. But it runs damn well on spite. You have a choice. You can let their disrespect weigh you down like an anchor, or you can let it drive you forward like a propeller. We are going to talk about weaponizing disrespect. Think about the greatest athletes in history. Think about Michael Jordan. Think about Kobe Bryant. Think about the champions who dominated their fields for decades. Do you think they ignored their haters? No, they collected them. They kept receipts. There are stories of athletes who would invent rivalries in their own heads just to get an edge. They would take a harmless comment from an opponent, twist it into a massive insult, and use that anger to wake up at 4 a.m. They used the chip on their shoulder as a battery pack. When someone told them you're too old, they didn't get sad, they got to work. When someone told them you can't win, they didn't argue, they destroyed the scoreboard. That's the key. They didn't use the energy to fight the person, they used the energy to fight their own limits. You need to learn this alchemy. You need to learn how to turn lead into gold. You need to turn hate into gains.
Thank them for the doubt. Take their stones and build your castle. Every time someone tells you that you aren't smart enough to start that business, say thank you. Take that doubt, wrap it up, and put it in the furnace. Burn it to power your late nights. Every time someone laughs at your ambition, say thank you. Take that laughter and use it to tighten your focus. Every time someone betrays you, abandons you, or rejects you, say thank you.
Why are you thanking them? Because they just gave you a gift. They gave you the most powerful motivator on the planet, the desire to prove them wrong. Now, be careful. This is dangerous territory. If you rely only on spite, you will become bitter. You will become dark. But used correctly, in small doses, disrespect is a supercharger. It's not about revenge. It's about utilization. Revenge is messy. Revenge is when you try to hurt them back. Utilization is when you use their negative energy to elevate yourself so high that they can no longer reach you. The best revenge is not destroying them. The best revenge is becoming so successful that their opinion of you becomes a joke. Imagine you were building a massive castle. You need stones to build the walls. You need rocks to build the tower. Your friends bring you stones. These are compliments and support. That's nice. But your enemies, they throw stones at you. They hurl rocks at your head, hoping to hurt you. The victim gets hit by the stone and bleeds. The unoffendable warrior catches the stone. He looks at it. He smiles, and he places it on the wall. Thanks for the free material, he says. Take their stones and build your castle. If they want to throw bricks, build a brick house. If they want to throw mud, build a fortress of adobe. Use whatever they give you. You have a choice. Are you going to curl up in a ball because your teacher said you wouldn't amount to anything? Or are you going to frame that report card and hang it in the office of the CEO you become? Are you going to quit the gym because someone looked at you funny? Or are you going to use that embarrassment to push out 3 more reps? Pain is energy. Rejection is energy. Anger is energy. Physics tells us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred. So transfer it. Take the energy of the insult and transfer it into your bank account. Transfer it into your body. Transfer it into your craft. Thank them for the doubt. You need to shift your relationship with the hater. The hater is not your enemy. The hater is your unpaid quality control inspector. The hater is your marketing assistant. The hater is pointing out your flaws so you can fix them, or they are revealing their own insecurities so you can bypass them. When you start to view the world this way, you become anti-fragile. Anti-fragile is a concept from Nassim Taleb. It means things that gain from disorder. A candle blows out in the wind. A forest fire grows in the wind. You want to be the fire. When the wind of disrespect blows, do not flicker, roar. It's not about ego, it's about discipline. It takes 0 discipline to get your feelings hurt. It takes immense discipline to feel the sting of an insult, swallow the urge to cry or fight, and channel that raw red adrenaline into your work.
This is the discipline of sublimation. You take a lower impulse, anger, and convert it into a higher impulse, creation. So here is the transformation. Here is the instruction. I want you to make a burn book. No, not like in a high school movie where you write rumors about people. I want you to write down the doubts. Write down the specific things people have said to you that hurt. You'll never make it. You're too fat. You're not smart enough. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Write them down. Look at them. Read them in the morning when you don't want to get out of bed. Feel that little spike of anger? Good. That's your coffee. That's your pre-workout. Take that list and say, "Watch me." Do not say it to them. Do not text them. Do not post it on Facebook. Remember Chapter 4, silence, and Chapter 7, no arguments. Say it to yourself. You don't need their permission to prove them wrong. You just need to do the work. Let the results be the noise.
One day, you will look back at the people who doubted you, and you won't feel anger. You will feel gratitude. You will realize that without their stones, your castle would be half the size. You will realize that the teacher who failed you pushed you to study harder. The ex who dumped you pushed you to find yourself. The boss who fired you pushed you to start your own company. They thought they were burying you. They didn't know you were a seed. Thank them for the doubt. Take their stones and build your castle. This is the ultimate power move. When you can look your enemy in the eye and genuinely thank them for the motivation, you have won the war before it even started. You are no longer afraid of criticism because you know how to eat it. You metabolize it. It makes you stronger. So invite the doubt, invite the hate, let them come. You have the engine, you have the blueprint, and now you have the fuel. But there is one final piece to this puzzle. You have learned to ignore, you have learned to silence, and you have learned to weaponize. But all of this is reactive. All of this is dealing with things coming at you. We need to establish a perimeter so strong that you get to decide what even comes near you in the first place. You need to build a permanent structure in your soul that defines who you are regardless of the weather outside. You have built the castle walls with their stones. Now let's secure the gate.
Chapter 9. Building the Inner Fortress. Imagine you live in a house. It is a beautiful house. It has expensive furniture, clean floors, and valuable art on the walls. But this house has a problem. It has no doors. It has no windows. It has no locks. The street outside is full of chaos. There are thieves, there are people with muddy shoes, there are storms. Because you have no doors, everything from the street comes right into your living room. Strangers walk in and sleep on your couch. People track mud across your clean floors. The wind blows your papers everywhere. You stand in the middle of this house crying. You scream, "Why won't everyone just respect my space? Why is my house such a mess?" You sound ridiculous. You are complaining about the mess, but you haven't built a wall. You are complaining about the thieves, but you haven't installed a lock. This is exactly how you are treating your mind. You have no perimeter. You are emotionally wide open. You let the news terrify you. You let your coworkers' bad mood ruin your lunch. You let your mother's criticism ruin your week. You are a house with no doors, begging the world to be polite. The world is not polite. The world is wild. This is the 9th law of the Unoffendable Heart. You must build the inner fortress. You must decide what gets in and what stays out. We are talking about emotional sovereignty. Sovereignty means you are the supreme ruler of the territory. In a sovereign nation, the government decides who crosses the border. They have checkpoints, they have visas, they have guards. In your life, there is no government. It is anarchy. You are letting refugees from other people's drama set up camp in your brain. You have a choice. You can continue to be a public park where anyone can dump their trash, or you can become a fortress. But listen closely. When I say fortress, I do not mean a prison. I do not mean you shut the world out completely. If a biological cell had a wall that was completely solid, it would die. It would starve. It needs nutrients. It needs oxygen. It needs water. But if the cell wall was completely open, it would also die. Viruses would enter, toxins would enter, the cell would dissolve into the environment. So what does a healthy cell do? It becomes semi-permeable. It has a selective membrane. It is intelligent. It looks at a nutrient and says, "You can come in." It looks at a virus and says, "You stay out." This is the model for your soul. You are the gatekeeper. Nothing enters without your consent. Guard the door. You need to develop an intelligent membrane around your emotions. You need to be able to stand next to a person who is angry, listen to them, understand them, but, and that's the key, not become them. Most of you suffer from emotional contagion. You catch feelings like you catch a cold. Your friend calls you.
They are panicked, they are crying, they are spiraling. Within 5 minutes, you are panicked. Your heart is racing. You are carrying their burden. You hang up the phone and you feel exhausted. You think this makes you a good friend. You think this is empathy. It is not. It is weakness. It is lack of boundaries. True empathy is standing on the shore while your friend is drowning and throwing them a rope. You are helpful because you are on solid ground. What you are doing is jumping into the water and drowning with them. Now there are 2 victims instead of 1. You are the gatekeeper. You must learn to look at someone's chaos and say, I see your pain, I love you, but I am not letting that pain inside my walls. This is the discipline of separation. It's not about being cold, it's about discipline. It is the discipline to know where you end and where the rest of the world begins. When you walk into a toxic workplace, you must check your seal. Imagine you are wearing a hazmat suit. The toxicity is in the air, it is in the gossip, it is in the passive-aggressive emails. If you have a tear in your suit, if you have a need for their approval or a fear of their judgment, the toxin gets in, you get sick. But if your suit is sealed, you can walk through the poison and remain perfectly healthy. You can do your job, smile, and go home to your family with your joy intact. Nothing enters without your consent. Consent is the operative word. You have to start treating your attention like a VIP nightclub. There is a bouncer at the door. That bouncer is you. A thought comes to the door. It is a thought of self-doubt. You're going to fail. The bouncer looks at the thought. Does this thought serve the mission? Is this thought true? Is this thought helpful? No. The bouncer says, you're not on the list. Get out. A comment from a stranger comes to the door. You're ugly. The bouncer looks at it. Is this useful? Is this constructive? No. Access denied. Right now, your bouncer is asleep on the job. He's letting everyone in. He's letting the doubts, the fears, the insults, and the negativity drink all your champagne and trash the place. Wake him up. Guard the door. You must become ruthless about your inputs. Stop watching the news if it makes you anxious. That is a breach of the fortress. Stop following people who make you feel inadequate. That is a breach of the fortress. Stop answering the phone for people who only call to complain. That is a breach of the fortress. You tell me, but I can't just ignore my family, or I can't just ignore reality. You have a choice. You can engage with them, but you do not have to absorb them. You can listen to your mother complain for 10 minutes, and then you can say, I love you, Mom, but I have to go. You set the term limits. You set the boundaries. A boundary is not something you explain to other people. A boundary is something you enforce for yourself.
Do not go to your toxic boss and say, please stop being mean to me, it hurts my feelings. That is weak. That is handing him the power. Instead, you say to yourself, if he speaks to me with disrespect, I will end the conversation and walk away. And then you do it. You do not need their agreement to have a boundary. You just need your own resolve. You are the gatekeeper. Nothing enters without your consent. Guard the door. When you build this inner fortress, something magical happens. You stop being afraid of the world. Why? Because you know you are safe. If you live in a house with steel doors and unbreakable windows, you don't worry about the storm outside. You can watch the lightning and enjoy the show. You can appreciate the power of nature without being destroyed by it. When you have emotional sovereignty, you can go into dark places and bring light because the darkness cannot enter you. You can help broken people because you don't get cut by their jagged edges. This is the ultimate form of strength. It is the strength of the sanctuary. Your mind should be a sanctuary. It should be a garden that you cultivate. If you let people throw trash in your garden, nothing will grow. But if you build the wall, if you lock the gate, if you only let in the sunlight and the water, then you can grow something beautiful. You can grow peace. You can grow focus. You can grow ambition. So,
Here is your instruction. Here is the transformation. I want you to do a security audit of your life. Who has a key to your house? Does your ex still have a key? Do they still have the power to ruin your day with one text? Change the locks. Does your critical inner voice have a key? Does it walk in and scream at you whenever it wants? Revoke its access. Does the opinion of society have a key? Change the locks. Visualize yourself standing at the door of your mind. You are holding a clipboard. You are checking ID. If it doesn't bring value, if it doesn't bring truth, if it doesn't bring love, it stays on the street. You don't need their permission to close the door. It is your house. You pay the mortgage with your life force. You decide who enters. Guard the door. Once you establish this perimeter, once the walls are up and the gate is locked, the noise of the world starts to fade. The screaming of the critics becomes a dull hum in the distance. You are inside the fortress now. It is quiet here. It is calm here. And in this silence, in this safety, you finally have the space to experience the state of being that you have been chasing your entire life. You are no longer reacting. You are no longer fighting. You are no longer defending. You are just being. You have reached the summit. The air is thin, but it is clear. You have built the unoffendable heart. Now, let's look at what life actually feels like when you live there permanently.
Chapter 10. The State of Sovereign Joy. We have reached the summit. We have climbed through the mud of taking things personally. We have hacked through the jungle of external validation. We have crossed the desert of arguments and climbed the cliffs of ego. Now we stand at the top, and the view from here is different. Many of you are afraid of the work we have done. Somewhere deep down, you are worried. You are thinking, if I kill my ego, if I stop reacting, if I stop caring what people think, will I become a robot? Will I become cold? Will I lose my humanity? You think that being unoffendable means being numb. You are wrong. Numbness is a lack of life. What we are building is an abundance of life. This is the 10th and final law of the unoffendable heart. When you are no longer a slave to your reactions, you enter the state of sovereign joy. Sovereign means independent. It means self-governing. It means your joy does not require a visa from the external world to exist. Most people experience conditional happiness. I will be happy if my boss praises me. I will be happy if my spouse acts the way I want. I will be happy if the traffic is light. This is slavery. You are begging the universe to arrange itself perfectly so you can feel good for 5 minutes. Sovereign joy is different. It is the ability to stand in the middle of a burning room, fully aware of the fire, fully capable of putting it out, but internally untouched by the heat. It is the ability to look at a chaotic, messy, rude, imperfect world and smile. Not a fake smile, but a genuine smile of power, because you know it cannot shake you. We need to talk about the mountain. I want you to close your eyes for a second. Visualize a massive mountain, a peak of granite and stone that pierces the clouds. It has stood there for 10,000 years. Now, watch the weather. A thunderstorm rolls in. The wind screams, the lightning strikes the side of the mountain, the rain lashes against the rock. Does the mountain flinch? Does the mountain scream back? Does the mountain say, "This is unfair"? No, the mountain remains. Then the storm passes. The sun comes out. It is warm. Birds sing. Flowers bloom on the slopes. Does the mountain get an ego? Does it puff up with pride? No, the mountain remains. Then the snow comes. It freezes. It is dark. The mountain remains. This is you. This is who you have become. The insults, the praise, the rejection, the acceptance, that is just the weather. It changes every day. Sometimes it changes every hour. If you try to change with the weather, you will be exhausted. You will erode.
But if you become the granite, If you become the immovable object, you find peace. Be the mountain. Let the weather change. You remain. That's the key. The mountain is not numb to the weather. It experiences the weather. It feels the rain, but it is not defined by the weather. When you reach this state, your relationships change completely. And this is the paradox. When you stop needing people to be perfect, you can finally start loving them. Think about it. When you get offended by your partner, it is because you have a demand. You are saying, you must behave this way for me to feel safe. You are using them. You are extracting validation from them. But when you are unoffendable, you don't need anything from them. You are full. You are the mountain. So when they're in a bad mood, you don't take it personally. You don't fight back. You look at them with compassion. You think, there's a storm on their slopes today. You can hold space for them. You can love them through their chaos, because their chaos is not a threat to your foundation. It's not about indifference. It's about discipline. It is the discipline of unconditional stability. You can interact with toxic people and not be poisoned. You can interact with angry people and not get burned. You can walk through the mud and keep your shoes clean. This is true power. The weak man needs everyone to agree with him to feel secure. The strong man can be surrounded by disagreement and feel perfectly at home. You have a choice. You can be a leaf in the wind, blown around by every sneeze and every comment, or you can be the trunk of the redwood tree. Be the mountain. Let the weather change. You remain. This state of sovereign joy allows you to play the game of life with a sense of humor. Have you ever noticed that the masters, the true masters of any craft, are usually smiling? The novice is stressed. The novice is frantic. The master is relaxed. When you are unoffendable, you become the master of your own psychology. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you don't rage, you chuckle. You think, look at that poor guy running his race. Someone leaves a hate comment, you don't type a furious reply, you smile. You think, look at the weather today. You have the God's eye view. You see the patterns, you see the machinery. You see that people are just acting out their own traumas, and it has nothing to do with you. You don't need their permission to be amused by the absurdity of it all.
This is the ultimate freedom. The freedom to enjoy your life while it is happening, not just when it is perfect. If you wait for the world to be perfect before you are happy, you will die miserable. The world will never be perfect. People will always be rude. Systems will always break. There will always be a crisis. Let the weather change. Stop trying to control the clouds. You cannot stop the rain, but you can stop drowning in it. You remain. You meaning your core, your values, your mission, your self-respect. That inner fortress we built in the last chapter, inside that fortress, there is a throne. You sit on that throne. When you sit on that throne, you realize that offense was just a distraction. It was a cheap magic trick designed to steal your attention. You don't have time for the trick anymore. You have an empire to build. So here is your final instruction. Here is the final transformation. I want you to practice the mountain visualization every single morning. Before you look at your phone, before you check your email, before you talk to anyone, close your eyes. See yourself as the mountain. Feel your base rooted deep in the earth. Feel your skin as stone. Visualize the people in your life, your boss, your family, your enemies as clouds floating around your head. Some are dark clouds, some are white clouds. Watch them drift, watch them scream, watch them rain, and feel the profound, silent joy of knowing that they cannot move you. Say it to yourself, I am the mountain. Carry that heaviness, that solidity into your day. When the chaos starts, when the noise gets loud, return to the image. This is just weather. Be the mountain. Let the weather change. You remain. You have done the work.
You have stripped away the fragility. You have stopped paying the tax of anger. You have stopped begging for the crumbs of validation. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are a creator of circumstance. You have reclaimed your emotional power. The bank account is full. The fortress is secure. The view from the summit is clear. The only thing left to do is to live it. Not just for this hour, not just for this book, but for every second of the rest of your life. The theory is finished. The training is over. Now the real test begins. Stand up.
We are done talking. The theory is over. Now comes the hard part, the practice. The next time someone disrespects you, and they will, you have a choice. You can revert to the fragile child who needs an apology, or you can stand as the unoffendable fortress. Do not let this hour be entertainment. This is a directive. Go out there and let them be wrong. Let them judge. Let them misunderstand you. You have work to do, and you cannot do it while carrying the weight of their opinions. Drop the weight. Reclaim your power. Become untouchable. If you are ready to commit to this new standard, do not just listen. Act. Subscribe to the channel, listen to this audio again tomorrow, and build the callus over your mind. You are dismissed.